This is a real. You can meet him. You might be him in the chat. If you have to do a lot of fucking truck stops, if you work in fucking anywhere near automotive, you know Bill. You know Bill. You've seen Bill's towing. You might have had to hire him. There he goes. Hey, when I got in my car crash, that's the guy that picked us up and dropped us off at the fucking Jiffy Lube. Kind of a weird dude. Smelled like chips. You know? Smoked too much. Still a real guy. That's part of the economic engine that makes America go around. And city skylines too. I like designing all my factories and industry around the otherwise bougie, low-density housing. I keep the industrial section far away from the residential areas. No pollution for my people. Harder to do in real life. Actually, very difficult. Sometimes worse. People don't even understand this. This is fun. You guys want to talk about zoning for a second? Sorry, Vosh. I'm talking about something interesting. One of the most interesting modern difficulties in America is industrial residential balance, right? Somebody that's actually like written papers and stuff will have better ways to talk about this, but I'm going to present you the problem that comes up. Industry creates pollution, right? By necessity, it will create pollution. It just happens. It might be, this, that type of the other. It also creates, instead of not just environmental pollution that you think of as in like air pollution and water pollution, it also creates two other types of pollution that people don't consider a lot of times when they're building stuff. And I don't know if they have this in games yet. Light pollution and sound pollution, which are very often more irksome to residential developments than the other kinds. Obviously, if you have something that belches out black smoke like an 18th century factory, which is not what a lot of polluting entities do these days, the pollutions and the pollutants are often clear, which is kind of more nefarious because you don't know they're up there, but you're breathing them in. So let's just say this creates 1,000 tons per year of carbon pollution and a high level of noise and light pollution, right? So your residents are like, move that the fuck away from us. Now, there's ways to mitigate noise and light pollution that are irksome to companies. Most noise pollution isn't really what you might think, which is like industrial machines. A lot of industrial areas don't even have machines. They don't even make anything. Most industrial areas in America are used really for storage and distribution. I cannot give you figures on that. I can just tell you all of my Amazon workers are going, yes. All of my semi-truck drivers are going, yeah, pretty much. You will have industrial production areas, but a lot of industrial areas are actually zoned out so that what they have in there is storage and distribution. Storage and distribution is massive. It's one of the most important subsections of the economy that nobody ever talks about, and it's also one of the biggest polluters because nobody ever talks about it. Why? Because storage and distribution requires trucks. It requires automotive to move around, right? So you produce something. You do production, right? You might do production in India. You might do production in China. You do production in America. Once you produce something, until it hits the end user, it is a asset liability, so to say. This asset exists. It is a car. It is a television. It is a gigantic truck full of milk, a gigantic thing full of gasoline. It is an investment that has not yet been cashed out. So until that investment gets cashed out, it has to be protected and stored, which is where our security guards come in and where our warehouses and storage facilities and distribution facilities come. So I make a headset right here. Boop, 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 boop. I tool it up. I put it together. I make 500 headsets. I do not sell 500 headsets the day I make 500 headsets. And even if I do not send them directly, more than likely, from where I'm sitting. I put them in a distribution center. Might be a mixed distribution center that happens with food a lot. Food, you'll have ice warehouses, refrigeration warehouses. You know, your stockyard gets fucking liquidated. You have 400 tons of meat. 400 tons of meat gets flash frozen at the processing facility. Then it goes to a gigantic freezer facility where it's, after it gets boxed and stuff, there might be boxing facilities along the lines. It's boxed, it's labeled, it's prepackaged for shipping. You are on pallets. Hey, if you were at work right now and I'm killing you because I'm describing what you're fucking looking at, I'm sorry. You're a forklift operator though, and I believe you. You're based. It is in aisle 1, 2, It is on shelf 3. It is on it's in section 2195, whatever. You got a little barcode. Beep, beep, beep. You drive your thing over there, pick it up. Choo, 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 choo. That goes onto a truck with 600 other different items that are going to 5 other different places. Distribution. Literally that fucking boom 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 boom. Trucks are going all the time. Trucks are fucking loud. You Jake brake using motherfuckers. You think I don't know who you are? I know who you are. Slowing down using your compression brakes on a semi truck in residential areas that don't have the gigantic fucking walls up, so everybody's calling into the sheriff and calling into your trucking company. By your trucking company, I mean somebody else's, by which I mean Swift. That noise you guys have heard when trucks are slowing down, that's the Jake brake. Very loud. That, and then them just moving around, very loud. When the trucks are allowed to go 24/7, the money's made 24/7 because they're distributing. The truck gets to be late. Hey, fucking trucker's happy. He's like, all right, man, I showed up. You know, they're going to open the gates for me because this is a 24/7 facility. It's not a 9 to 5 facility. It is not a 5 to 10 facility. You know what I mean? A 5 to midnight facility. So, these trucks are going 24/7 in a lot of parts of America, especially when you have those out there areas. Now, all of these industrial areas that have these distribution and storage centers have to have a supply of labor because there's a lot of labor there that you do not want to rely on fucking third party. You're an idiot. If you have a distribution center that has third party security, as in they're not there, like off-site security, I meant to mean third party is fine, which is you hire an independent security firm. Off-site security for a lot of these places is a bad idea. Because then there's no one there to know what happened when fucking $7,000 worth of headphone magnets went missing. You know what I mean? If you're confused about what I'm talking about, but you have really serious opinions on pollution, you need to fucking do a little bit more fucking reading. The industrial residential conundrum is you have to get labor to these places to work there. The best place for labor to live is next to it because that gives you the shortest travel time, right? And you want to reduce all of these environmental aspects, but you have to balance out how long you run it. So you can reduce, they won't mind it being next door if we don't have the lights on 24/7. Every time you have a 24/7 operation, you have highway lights that are on, you have trucks running lights, you have facilities that have to have lights on because they have security cameras, lights deter theft, and you have to have all sorts of additional secondary things that are around them. You are going to see gas stations pop up, filling stations. Love truck stop, baby. Loves truck stop. Here we go. And I know someone just said, I think you mean Sheets. And then another person just said, I think you mean Wawa. And I love all of you. And you're all equal in my hearts and minds. Those fucking things are always open 24/7, basically. There's no reason to really shut down a gas station, but if you have a gas station that's open 24/7, you have to have a fucking police force. Police force is also going 24/7. So all of these things are going to be putting out tons of fossil fuel, which is one of the biggest polluters in America. Fossil fuels burning, rubber getting fucking stripped up, having to put down rubber, having to put down concrete. All of that creates runoff. All of that creates waste. And so you have this thing where you have to balance industrial residential. So what do? Do you put off all of the issues onto residential and move residential super far away from industrial? Boom. Everyone's happy. Industry's away. I don't have to smell the pigs being slaughtered. I don't have to hear the truck stopping. I don't have to do anything, right? Sometimes people will pay out of pocket a lot of money to get further and further away, which turns the area that's right next to the industrial area into what we like to call in the business a fucking shithole slum. And it will be full of like cheap housing for immigrants, for undesirables for the most closest city, depending on how bad the area that you live in. If it's, someplace that doesn't have any regulation, you might have slums there. Really, really, really bad places that are run by really, really, really bad people, but they get to take advantage of the conditionally used permit that no one ever double checked on for 15 years. Non-conforming apartments that were built because somebody had a fucking trade season one year and then someone else said, you know what? I'm going to buy these FEMA trailers and rent them out with a conditional use permit. How about that? Okay, sure. Go ahead. I got somebody paying me $1,000 to live in a free fucking shack I got from the government. Win, 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 and win. Where are they living? Is it in a place with fucking like grass and shit? Like, oh no, it's a fucking trailer park made out of FEMA trailers that I have literally behind my storage center. You think that these places aren't real? I'm gonna blow your mind. Not only are they real, they're fucking everywhere. One of you guys might live in one. That's why you're a fucking leftist. You wake up every day and you step out into the back of Big John's storage, U-Haul storage, listening to the sweet sound of people that got back from vacation cussing at each other as they try to figure out how to park a trailer. Fucking nightmare shit. So you have all these microplastics and stuff in the air. You have these bad areas, but how do you balance them? And that is one of the, I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer for that. This is one of the most difficult questions that exists in the modern era, which there are people that will give you really hardcore, like, this is what you do. And those answers never survive moving a county over. And they don't survive a fucking time zone. And they do not survive coast to coast, because just the terrain itself will change shit. So you have to figure out, because these are necessary. Your economy will shut down, and then everyone fucking dies if you shut down these industrial areas. Because these industrial areas are not just bringing in rich guy product. Consume. You're freaking out. I don't give a fuck if they can't get iPods. Well, unfortunately for you, also the General Mills distribution areas there, the Procter & Gamble distributions areas there, and all their subsidiaries. So diapers are going through here. Grain is going through here. Flour is going through here. Oil and gas that you need to operate the machines that operate the farm equipment is going through here. The farm equipment itself is going through here. The nuts, bolts, this, that, and the other that build the farm equipment are here or are going through here, as well as every other fucking miscellaneous thing that you could or could not imagine purchasing on the internet are going through these sites constantly, 24/7, at rates that are literally so unmeasurable at times that this is one of those things where it is sometimes you would have to give me a very good argument why the government should be specifically controlling every aspect of this, just because the sense of scale and the personability of it at a very small level is like hard to maintain track of, because we're talking about, like, you can't taxing the individual like things that goes on, okay. But sometimes trying to like have absolute 100%, like we have to have somebody in the government say something specific about this thing going on, can be onerous to not like fucking Fat Cat McGee with his top hat and his spinning little cane, but just Bill's Towing. Bill from Bill's Towing. Bill lives 3 houses down from you. It is not a nice house. You'd have never met Bill. Bill runs Bill's Towing. Bill's Towing is operated out of Bill's fucking house. And he owns one fucking tow truck. Bill gets in his tow truck every day, and he goes to fucking the city in general. He goes to little dollar pay lots and tows people that have not moved. And then he goes to a tow lot that's rated I-12, you know, whatever the fuck in your area. He goes to an industrial lot that he co-rents with 3 other guys and drops off a truck there. He gets a little bit of a stipend from the people that then, like, every time he drops off a truck, he gets fucking $500 or whatever. And then he takes that money. He also sometimes picks people up on the road and drops them here, there, or the other. He has to go to a gas station every day. This gas station is located a quarter mile away from this truck stop. If you fuck up any aspect of that or add any more difficulty to it, this guy will fucking hate you the way no one has ever been hated on earth. This is a person that doesn't get brought up. You probably won't hear him being talked about on his own, but Bill from Bill's Towing is fucking real. And Bill's life is kind of a nightmare, except for when he gets to go home at the end of the 10-hour shifts he fucking puts himself through every day and watch, you know, dog shit TV and have a couple beers and yell at his wife about, yeah, I'm going to cut the grass in 3 hours. God damn it. Get off my fucking back. Focusing on this dude. What is Bill's drive time? What is the drive time for a small business owner who owns a very necessary, he's keeping them, he's a cog, you know what I'm talking about? What is the drive time for Bill, and how many fucking pounds of CO2 is he putting in the air relative to these 1,000 puts? You know, how much would it be decreased if he could live closer? Would it be better? Would it be worse? Should you start putting restraints on him? Should you start telling Bill, like, hey, you can only drive tow trucks until fucking 6 p.m. at night because we want to reduce the overall CO2 impressions or production, just a smaller, more measurable thing to this much. We know that there's 500 tow truck drivers like you in the municipal district coming in, coming out. Most of you live here. We know that together you produce, because of your drive times and how much you're driving, you produce 2,000 cubic feet or 2,000 cubic tons of CO2 every year, as opposed to our industrial district, which is located very far over here. It's very well regulated. It's 1,000, but it's very, very far away. Now, do we want to tell you that not drive through this residential area and make everybody fucking happy from time to time to time? Don't use your Jake brakes. You can get a fucking ticket. By the way, if you have never driven a semi-truck or you don't know any semi-truck drivers and you hear somebody talking about how bad their tickets are, do not do the why can't everybody balance their checkbook type of conversation that people have with the government to tickets that people that are driving multi-axle vehicles get. They are crazy. They are crazy. You talk about, you think your speeding ticket for going 100 and a 45 is bad. Just try having like a misinflated tire on the wrong stretch of highway in America. You'll find all of a sudden that like there's a law in fucking Southern Illinois that you have to have fresh paint on your fucking rear right goddamn hubcap or something. And now you're looking at like $3,000, which, by the way, you're still a multi-axle vehicle at Bob's Towing. Bob's a six axle, whatever, 3-ton tow truck with, he's got a Class C type license. I think you can drive a tow truck with. Might be lower, might be higher, wherever you live. So he's got his license. He has to get his license redone. He's got special insurance. If he has to risk getting a $2,000 ticket to go to your industrial area now because you're like, hey, I want to make pollution go down, he's now at risk of that if he has a bad day and his brakes on his truck that he personally owns and he has to pay for, if his brakes go a little bit bad and he happens to be going past a state trooper and he has to fucking use a Jake brake, and it's only him on the street and the cop knows who it is. Hey buddy, license and registration. Did you know that we have a noise ordinance here past 8 p.m.? I was literally late. I got stuck in rush hour traffic. It takes me half an hour to get out to the industrial area to drop the cars off where I get paid. It takes me a little bit longer to get out here. And I didn't realize that, I didn't realize it was 8 p.m. because it's summer. I would have not even tried to Jake brake. I was just trying to get home. I didn't realize that, because the light is still bright, that it's actually past 8 p.m. So my bad. Sorry, bud. That's a fucking $650 ticket. Plus $650 ticket. Plus you got to go in and pay it. You're gonna have to pay the court fees, whatever it is. Maybe it's cheaper. I don't know what Jake brake tickets are across America. They change, by the way. Some places have no regulation against it. Some people have a lot. Have you even considered this when you're talking about like how excessive you have to get about, this, that, and the other in the city? This is shit you have to fucking think about. And by the way, if you're ever a writer and you want to talk about like space and shit, and you're talking about a little bit of economy, this is a guy. He's a real dude. This is a real. You can meet him. You might be him in the chat. If you have to do a lot of fucking truck stops, if you work in fucking anywhere near automotive, Bill. You've seen Bill's towing. You might have had to hire him. There he goes. Hey, when I got in my car crash, that's the guy that picked us up and dropped us off at the fucking Jiffy Lube. Kind of a weird dude. Smelled like chips. Smoked too much. Still a real guy. That's part of the economic engine that makes America go around. You don't think about him because he's not specifically like the main production element of the economy in your area. But if he stops working for a reason that bugs people like Bill, then a lot of people like Bill might start trying to find either a different place to live, a different economic zone to be a part of, a different part of the economy to be a part of. And then all of a sudden, you find, because of this law that you passed, or this kind of like, we wanted to zone things like this, and we didn't really, really think about it. Why the fuck can't we get cars towed? Why can we not get any cars towed in this entire city? I've had this fucking derelict sitting in front of my bakery for 2 months. Somebody crashed it, and it's just sitting there. Like, what? I don't know. We have a lack of tow truck drivers. None of us know why. Yeah, well, my bakery's going to shut down because no one can park in front of my fucking bakery. I have customers that come in here and get all of the rolls for their shit in the morning. Like, I'm an industrial baker. I know I'm like downtown and it's nice and it's like Matt's fine breads and desserts. but I have to be able to have 15 trucks come through here and park in one of these 3 spots, and that's full of that guy. Well, hey, I'm sorry, you know, we're the police, but we don't own the tow trucks. We can only use our one tow truck to tow fucking busted vehicles from crimes down to the crime lab. And actually, our lot's getting filled up too. We don't know why. We can't get people to come and unfill our lot for the forensics lot at the police department. Did you know police departments very often have forensics lots? You didn't know? Sometimes it's at your mall. If you ever go to a mall and you realize that there's a part of the top of it where you can't get to cars and there's like police tape all the time, that might be a forensic lot. Just a thing to know about. Our forensics lot's full, which is increasing the amount of time that it takes for us to process crime scenes. It's one of the reasons that we haven't been able to double check all of this string of murders that happened because of a random like drug beef on the east side. A series of these happened in and around vehicles, and we haven't been able to process them. And 2 of the crime scenes went bad because we don't have tow truck drivers to empty the lot of old cars that haven't been picked up from fatal crashes. Damn, that's crazy. So the bakery's fucked, and the cars are and the police are in trouble, and then therefore all the way down the line, people downtown pissed as fuck. Why are the cops not doing their goddamn job investigating these crimes? Cops dying to do it, literally can't fucking bring more cars in and fucking operate this lot. Everything's just slowed down, backed up because of a tow truck driver that stopped driving tow trucks because of a new law about sound that literally made it economically unsound for him to try to drive a tow truck. Like, that is how complicated this shit is. It is not, I know it's fun to talk about, like, God damn it, I wish I could get on a bus in front of my house and get taken downtown for a beer at my brew pub. But understand, when you start talking about city development and shit, there's people that are going to have questions about this for you. If you ever get elected or if you ever try to have conversations about it, you have to be ready to fucking field this kind of stuff. And I'm a nobody. I'm like literally half describing things that I wrote about that people were pissed about. And there's sometimes non-win situations, but that is what zoning is. If anybody ever tries to knock you off base too, and you're like, I want city zoning to be better, and all you can answer is like, well, I wish I could follow a fucking pigeon around and go look at a church. Understand that the fucking, this shit gets complicated. And sometimes simplistic solutions can have unseen for circumstances, which also, you know, not necessarily a warning for you, but sometimes consider giving people a touch of grace. A hint of it. If you're like, why is this all fucked up? It might be one of those things where nobody can fix it. So also just beware of someone that's like, I can fix this. What I found is, while this industrial area puts out 2,000 cubic tons of carbon per year, we have found that we could reduce it by just implementing a few noise and sound laws and keeping trucks from running too late at night. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. We found out we could reduce it by 500 or 600 cubic tons a year by just putting one little law. But one little law can have one extremely massive consequence if you're not in tune with your city, which is one of the biggest reasons why I say get involved in local politics, because it's really easy. It's really fucking easy to talk like I do. I mean, it might not be everyone that can do it, but I'm a dime a dozen in the industries that I've worked in. Like there's just a lot of confident white guys with $30 haircuts out there. I hate to break it to you, that can talk your fucking ear off about anything and be just as charismatic as me and convince you that they have the plan. And they will be the one that's like, I'm a Democrat. I'm on your side. I know I'm not from here, but I'm on your side. I'm from Boston. And in Boston, what we did was we started up a late night ban on motor transit for vehicles or 6 axles or more, and we found that it reduced all these things. Now, I'm telling you right now, there's gonna be some resistance to it, but I'm telling you, this is the way to get that thing you want, a slight reduction in pollution, done, and it doesn't affect almost anybody. But almost anybody is Bill. Fucking Bill. He lives 2 houses down. He's a weird guy. He smells like fucking chips. He drives a tow truck. Fuck, not anymore. Now he works at Amazon because Amazon's always hiring. And guess what? He still drives an uplifted F-350 He still drives it out to the same industrial center and goes back and forth all day. Can't you have times when trucks can drive? Yeah, you can. I'm just telling you, it's not like these are all bad. Like, I'm not telling you any of these are things where you're like, oh, fuck, I should never have a rule against trucks. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's like the perfect thing to do. But the real issue is letting people that don't have an understanding of the specific material conditions of your area, of your region, of your economy, make these decisions based on ideological means. This is Marxism. This is socialism. I tricked you, bitches. I tricked you. Having people that come in and give you a materialist assessment, someone like you who knows Bob, you know Bill, you work in the city, you are a city politician, you're a lowly, whole-shoed fucking leather burning, what do you call that? You gotta fucking burn rubber, wear leather. I can't remember. I knocked myself off. But you got holes in your shoes from all the doors you gotta knock on, from all the hands you gotta shake. The good thing about a real politician is that they go out doing sleazy handshaking shit and talking to people, because there is literally no better way for one person to know more about all the shit going on than to have him be available for everyone to come up, shake their hand, and give him 5 seconds of, hey, dipshit, fucking the goddamn law about not driving after 8 p.m. destroyed my tow truck business. What? I didn't know that was even a thing that could happen. Yeah, it is. Can I tell you more? I don't know. Then that same guy, also journalists are supposed to be doing this, the same fucking conversation down the line with him, or maybe even with a journalist, somebody says, hey, did you know that the tow truck lot is the tow lot, the impound for the police and their forensics lot are both completely full because we're out of tow truck drivers? Now, you know what I fucking heard the other day? I was talking to a guy. His name was Bill. He smelled like potato chips. Weird fucking dude. But he told me he had to sell his tow truck and quit his tow truck business because of this late night driving law we passed like 4 years ago. It didn't happen, but like he got a ticket, and it was bad enough that like he did the math with his wife and said, like, I can't keep doing this. If we get another one, it's getting completely bankrupted. So he sold his tow truck and he quit. Have you heard of that happen to other people? I haven't, but I could go check. And then you find out that guy's like, yeah, we actually I checked with the business office, and our licenses for private tow truck companies decreased. We had no new applications for 2 years, which is a insanely high amount. An insanely high amount. None. Zero, which is, or low, you know what I'm saying? And we also lost about 20% of our overall licenses that had been applied for and granted in the last 10 years. So we're down tow truck drivers. We are down to 75% of the total tow truck drivers we've had in the city for years, and we need more because we just had the off ramp from I-75 completed, and now we have all of those new vehicles and stuff, and that's one of the biggest reasons we had a population boom, but somehow we have less tow truck drivers. Okay, well, we should probably do something about that. Yeah, we should probably do something about that, because one guy's small problem is actually a massive issue once it's compounded to the fact that it's not that specific guy's problem. It's an industry problem for an industry that people don't pay enough attention to. That's how you end up. And these problems will happen no matter what. No matter what in politics. You can't predict every variable. But what you can do is, instead of trying to go, I don't know why I turned this into a crash course on fucking materialism. What do you call that? What's the fancy socialist word for it? Dialectical materialism and historical materialism. That's what this means. You go with ideology. I just want the energy. I just want less pollution, which is a lefty thought, right? That's cool. I just want less pollution. I'll do anything to have less pollution. Okay, anything? How about we fuck over the working man? Like, wait, what? Like, yeah, we fucking almost completely destroyed the economy of our city with an unthought out law. There's other things probably we could do. Pollution's still bad and we want to get rid of it. But that specific solution for it, because it was ideological instead of based in the material realities and the material concerns of the day, instead of focusing it on it that way, we did it the ideological way. We just went with the vibes, right? The vibes-based law, and it fucked us. Because also we found out that the lack of tow trucks is causing a series of other little fucking kerfuffles down the road, all of which are just increasing pollution anyway. Crazy, right? It's like when you find out that coal-fired power plants produce more radiation than a fucking nuclear power plant. Did you know that? Did you know that coal's not just coal? And that almost all the shit that comes out of the ground is crazy fucking poisonous. And if you burn it and put it in the air, it's got stuff. So a lot of coal ash actually is full of fucking radioactive materials that can increase the native radiation area or level in the area to higher than it would be at a radioactive fucking plant that literally uses specifically radioactive elements to power. Why? Because the radioactive plant puts out steam. And the non-radioactive plant puts out smoke. And smoke is full of pieces, and steam is full of water. Neat, right? I hate small domino to big domino. It sucks. It's technically, when you describe it as how it happens, and you can actually articulate your way through it and figure out all the issues, because it might have even be deeper than that. There might have been good things that I didn't describe because my limited analysis, which is me making something up, might not have understood that another good thing happened. We might, when you really get into it, you Paul Atreides shit. I'm fucking high on spice. This is the golden path was actually fucking overbill in the tow truck industry. Who knows? You'll never have 100%, but the best way to arrive at a circumstance that you not only understand, but can plan for and assess is by giving it a materialist understanding, which you literally just start with, what in the fuck am I looking at? What in the fuck am I looking at? And once I understand what the fuck I'm looking at and what the fuck I want done, I can say, well, what I want done is this accomplishable thing, which is a real thing that happened, a thing that I can measure, a thing that I can see. And then through that, I go through my hypotheticals, which is the same thing as the scientific method. Beginning and ending in a material analysis of the world, right? As opposed to underpants gnomes, which is literally all ideological preconceptions. Which is why I have problems with stuff like just saying any little thing that this or that person does. I won't get into specifics because I don't want everyone to get sad again. But when you talk about people like Hassan and their messaging, it's very, very ideological. Who cares if he fucking connects with people? He's just trying to say what he wants to say. How is that going to change anything? I don't know, but would you just want him to not say it? Ideological. Almost every fucking conversation regarding that conflict, ideological. Why should it happen? Because why wouldn't it? If butthurt is your immediate response to something and not some sort of facts, it's just affront. You might be what we call in the business a rube. BBL Drizzy. VBL Drizzy. Mentatler. Vibes-based law. A lot of them are, man. There's a lot of laws that are vibes-based, especially old ones. All morality laws are vibes-based. Most of our vice laws are vibes-based, even if they have materialist beginnings and ends to a degree. The way that you would arrive at what you happen is through ideology, the assumption that possibly, maybe, the belief that it could, the suggestion that how do you know it wouldn't. All of those laws, all of that reasoning is always, and sometimes it's the only thing that you can't do because you just can't know. And in a situation where you actually have established how could you know, and the only way forward is to make a decision, then yeah, you have to go with idealism. It's the worst possible circumstance for making a decision because how the fuck do you know what you're doing? You know what I mean? It's literally just, I went with my gut instinct. I had a feeling, which is just gambling, really.
Hope you enjoyed your time on the Westside.